Hey y'all, Dennis here, Muddy Water Search and Recovery. And I just want to talk to you for a minute, kind of explain my thought process on something. Several cases that we've worked on have been classified as runaways. These are typically 13 to 16-year-old teenagers. But when the flyer comes across to us, or we're reading up on it, we see that they are classified as typically missing endangered runaways. I have said many times in our videos, me personally, I'm not comfortable putting that classification on any case without knowing 100% that is the case. And even then, I'm still not comfortable with it. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to say law enforcement messed up or they do it wrong. That's not what I'm doing here. They have their way of doing things on that helps them. This is just me and my personal thoughts on this. I have had the fear that I would come on and say, so-and-so is missing, 14, 15-year-old is missing, and it's classified as a runaway, so this individual run away from home, let's keep our eyes open. My fear is that instead of them actually running away, there's more to it. And unfortunately, I had been sent a press release on a case that, we didn't even know about. We didn't work on it or anything. This was the first time hearing about this case. Dan first sent this over to me, and then I've seen that Kansas Missing and Unsolved have shared it, as well as several other areas on social media have been sharing this. Basically, a 13-year-old girl went missing in the state of Texas. She was reported as a runaway, and it was classified as a missing endangered runaway. When a case is classified as a runaway, the majority of the time it changes how the investigation is run. If it's a runaway, the focus is going to be in the immediate area or any areas that they may have ties to. They've got family in an area that they frequent, etc. Those areas are going to get the focus. And if an officer goes out on patrol, he keeps his eyes open for that individual. And that is generally the extent of it, unless more information comes in to lead officers to a specific location. Whereas if it does not have the classification of runaway, then it gets a little bit more attention, and the news of that case has more potential to spread out to other states. And, this case, unfortunately, was basically as bad as it gets. This 13-year-old girl was approached by a 63-year-old man in a local restaurant in Texas. Obviously, this doesn't give full details, but she was somehow convinced or something to come to Kansas with this guy. And there wound up being two 63-year-old men who brought this 13-year-old girl from Texas to Liberal, Kansas. And in the process, at least one of the men raped this little 13-year-old girl, then told her that they're going to prostitute her out because there's big money they could get on her. The girl reported that she had several visitors while she was there with these guys. Thankfully, she has been rescued. I don't know if she escaped or if she was rescued, but either way, she is safe now. And the two guys They are being charged with rape, aggravated human trafficking, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated parental custody, aggravated intimidation of a victim, and aggravated indecent liberties with a child. To be honest, if they're guilty as a father, I hope they fry. I mean, I will get that up. People, you can't be like that. I am. If you hurt a child, I've got no sympathy whatsoever for you. The charge that really stands out to me is the aggravated parental custody. And I want to look more into that and see how it fits in with that, etc. But this, absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm not trying to say if the classification of runaway was not there, that this wouldn't have happened. What I'm trying to say, in my opinion, without that classification, I feel more people are going to take notice of the case. It's going to spread out from that particular area, and news could have spread quick enough that she may have been found as they were transporting her from Texas to Kansas. But in either way, this is the number one reason why I cannot classify one of these cases as a runaway, is out of fear that it turns out to be something like this. And even if she let the note that she's running away, that's still not enough for me to say, yes, this is just a runaway, because so many things can happen. I think some of these cases may potentially start out as a runaway. When you're 13, 14, 15 years old, a lot of times you don't know what's out there in the world. You think you've got it all figured out. I know when I was a teenager, I thought I had it all figured out. Years later, I see I didn't have a clue. And that's how a lot of teenagers are today. And they get out there and thinking that they're in control, they can do this better, and they get out there and something bad happens. There are sick people out there. This case proves that. So I will never classify a case as a runaway. I may say it's suspected they may have run away, but I will never say, hey, this is a runaway, unless I know 100% that to be the case. All the trafficking charges on this case, we are working on a trafficking awareness video that we will be releasing probably here in about 3 weeks or so. We've got several cases that appear they could tie into trafficking, and then this one here, reading this, we are going to have a trafficking awareness video released in the next few weeks. But with this, I'm hoping you could understand more why we will never classify one of these cases as a runaway ourselves. And we dig into these cases just the same as we do for any other case that we receive, just out of fear that this is going on and it's not just a runaway. So I'm kind of hoping that you can understand this a little bit better and our stance on this, where we're coming from. Comment down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this. With that, until next time, you guys stay safe, and let's see what we can do to help bring some of these people home.